My name is Mati Barbero. I'm co-founder of Schoolin1. Schoolin1 is a net tech company, basically a software as a service. We provide with our software to K-12 schools, and we are trying to centralize and put all together all the different platforms or any software that schools are using to exchange information with parents and the kids into a single platform. That's why we call it, Schoolin1. That's what we are doing basically. And yeah, as you were saying, during the last couple of years, I've been supporting different Latin American startups from different sectors with their soft landing, fundraising, selling, whatever they need, mostly in the Miami. I believe, for what I have seen in the last couple of years, Miami is the gate for the first steps that Latin American companies wants to do in the US. So of course you have 5 to 6, you can count even more, but ecosystems across the US. You can go to New York, of course, Silicon Valley, Boston, Austin, Texas, and there could be a few more. But Miami has been positioning as the city, and it's actually the city between Latin America, between the 33 countries of Latin America and the US. And I strongly believe that one of the most important assets is that when you are in Miami, you literally feel that you are in Latin America, but actually you are in the US, and that's a great thing. That's a great thing to start selling. That's a great place also to do fundraising. Why? Because of the cultural affinity that most of the founders will find with these stakeholders I was mentioning. Of course, there are, support from the government in terms of taxes and stuff. That's a very boring thing, and I don't want to get into that topic, but probably accounting experts, they can speak more about that. Me, who is a person that I'm in field, out there in the events, connecting, as I was saying, with investors, corporates, and so on. Uh, I saw that there are many, many decision makers from the US, and I heard them saying like, there's so much potential from Latin American technologies and the human talent also from Latinos that I really feel, and I see that Miami's acts like as a middleman between the both parts, and it's the right place to start understanding the US market. It's like, yeah, you are transitioning softly into a new market, and Miami would be that place. It's even geographically there, like as middle. It's crazy because sometimes I say like, yeah, it's in the middle between both parts, but it's literally there, right?
Yeah.
And yeah. Also, I believe there's things like uh the weather is warm all the day around. So I heard people living in New York, founders saying like, it's freezing here in December and snowing, and it doesn't feel home. And I think Miami provides a bunch of different features, let's say, or things like that. Like, you feel more close to home. And when you are developing a new market, everything is new, everything changes, rules are different, new country. It's like, well, you don't feel like you are that far away from home, right? And it's important. I mean, odds are in your favor. You have more opportunities or chances of succeeding. Because at the end of the day, it's a matter of that, right? Collaborative, I would say. One of the most collaborative ecosystems. I'm very, very surprised on how much these stakeholders, again, let's mention like investors, institutions, corporates, venture capitals, how open they are to listen to Latin American talent and startups. Um, Back in the days when we were running some acceleration programs, we would go out and ask people, experts, thought leaders, industry experts to give some sort of feedback and support these companies. And people were, and they are still very, very open to do that. And even the C-level of different big companies, I'm not going to mention anyone right now, but probably you understand which one I mean. And they were sitting there listening to an early stage Latin American company, which I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen in other states across the US. And people sometimes ask me, why do you feel that? Well, as I was saying before, probably that guy, he understands that this Latin American founder is starting and doing the first steps in Miami. And that guy who is a decision maker of a top company in the US or runs a venture capital firm or works for an institution, whatever, he's probably Latino, his or her parents are Latino. So they kind of like feel for what this person is going through and they want to be supportive and collaborative. At the end of the day, Miami, it's really a mix of different cultures, right? You have not only Latinos and then other cultures, but they're very supportive let's say with the people that are from the same continent, like same origin. You know what I mean? You gotta think Miami as I was saying, as a starting point. So once I was speaking with the top again venture capital firm, and the guy told me, well, Miami it's the place to start, and then you gotta go to Silicon Valley to think if your company can go global, right? And it makes total sense. Um, but if you want to start from the place that you want to go global and go and ask for feedback and stuff, it's just not the right stage. It's just not the right place to do that. So you rather go back. Of course, depends on a case by case. Depends on the company, the funding, a bunch of different things. But I'm just trying to be generic in the answer. Most of the companies that they start with a small budget, they just raise a round to start doing some operations in the US. I feel like, and many people probably will agree, it's like Miami will be the place to kick off that. I'm
Yeah.
actually doing that with my company, right? So right now, what we did was a spin-off, and now as a founder, my other partners, they asked me, where should we start? Of course, I said Miami, right? If we have a budget to do certain things, this is the right place. Not only because I have, a powerful network here, it's more like it's literally the place to try a couple of things, right? We saw FinTech back in the days, couple of years ago, I would say, booming. Bitcoin conference and stuff, everything around Web3. That was like a huge boom. After a couple of different collapses we saw a couple of years ago, around FinTech, I started to see like, you know, um, it's not growing anymore. I think it's already there. I am starting to believe like the next, of course, Miami is far, far away from Boston, for example, in terms of biotech. But I'm already seeing, and I saw starting, and I also work with them, small organizations from Boston and from top cities coming to Miami to start moving a couple of things there. And so I feel biotech, anything related to health tech, you got to think a lot of people go to South Florida to do retirement, right? So anything connected with health and technology, it's going to be a boom. And I think globally, health tech, biotech, all of those things are going to be a boom in the upcoming years. So I'll go for, if I gotta choose one, I'll go for biotech. But definitely, if someone from other industries is hearing this, um, they should definitely do some research because I'm 100% sure there's a community, of course, for prop tech, uh, well, of course, even for fintech, ag tech, and you also see that when you speak with venture capital firms and they're looking to position themselves in Miami, right? Have a spot there. So when you see the capital and the money, you got to think like, the money goes there. And if the money goes there, it's because something is happening, right? Or something is about to happen. So So yeah, definitely I would say those two or three that I was mentioning. I believe in the next couple of years there's gonna be like more infrastructure for that, capital, companies coming in and yeah, I think that would be. Well, I guess the most challenging thing for startups in Miami, it's this thing like founders or the team that is running the expansion. They believe that because they're doing so well in Latin America, because they could be doing plus $1 million in revenue, they're in two, three, four different countries, whatever. Um, oh, they're going to succeed in Miami or in South Florida. And sometimes they don't take dimension of what the US is. Just as an example, Florida is uh, five times the GDP of Colombia. So if you think about it, just the state of Florida is like five countries in Latin America. That's the scale, which means like you can't target a country. You can't target even a city, Miami, like the city of Miami or the state of Florida as as something small or something that you're going to succeed. You gotta be smart in the moves, and more importantly, get advice, get connected with people that they've been there, they did that, and yeah, that I would say that's the biggest challenge, right? People trying to do it themselves, and thinking that with the same pitch and or with the same strategy they're going to succeed, and it's just not going to work. And then because from the other side, I would say from the Miami side or the Florida side, uh, the demand for technology is there. It's just a matter of bringing what they want to hear, and then boom, it's gonna happen. Of course, Latin America has cheaper technology, but that doesn't mean that it's low quality, right? And it's a matter of proving that, right? We as Latinos, we don't have to show like we are cheaper, we are better. It's just we're cost effective, right? And I think that's the main challenge that startups face, which is an internal problem. It's not the problem is not out there. And if I had a now thinking a second one would be uh raising capital. Sometimes it's tough, right? And you're saying, well, Mati, you're saying it's easy. Well, it's not. It's tough because US investors, even if they're Latinos, you're going to go out and find some angel investors from Latin America and they're going to invest your money. But if you're raising a big round, a challenging thing is demonstrating what you're going to do with that capital. And probably not only investors, they want to invest in US based companies. It's just they're not going to give money to a company based in Chile to operate that capital back in Latin America. It's just not going to happen. So founders there, uh, they need to be smart on what they are saying in order to raise that capital. For sure, incorporate US as part of that operation, right? I mean, if you're raising capital, you should put US in your roadmap. If not, you're not gonna raise the round, at least in the US, right? So yeah, it's a learning process, and if you connect with people that they did that, they've been there, and they can give you a few advices, that saves you a lot of time because if not, you need a bunch of different meetings to realize like, hey, you're not doing the right job, and probably a couple of years. So yeah, it's gonna keep growing, right? Miami is one of the top cities now in the world, not only for technology, but even if you think about it for in terms of soccer or events and stuff. uh, Miami as a city, they have Messi now, and that's a lot of things. Sponsors, corporates, companies looking to move there. We saw Amazon. I don't know if they already bought this or they are about to, Jeff Bezos, he wants to move to Florida. When, top global leaders, they move there. Again, it's capital flow going to the place, and that's giving you like, oh, something is happening or something is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. And there's many real estate developments happening, especially in downtown, to put some infrastructure to connect Latin America and the US. Uh, I know the guy running that, which is Moishman, and I really know deeply that he wants to connect both parts. And when you have people, as I was saying, being collaborative, but then also you have the infrastructure to build like a Silicon Valley to connect Latin America and the US, well, you got something. There's people investing in that. It's not only their time, it's not only their, you know, their willingness to help. It's more like there's actually money being invested to happen, and that's like a proof of what will happen in the next years. So yeah, I can expect growth and growth and growth, and yeah, definitely as worth visiting the city and giving, as I was saying in the beginning, the first or the initial steps, the first testings in the US. I think again is the right place. That's my piece of advice. It's gonna keep growing, right? Miami is one of the top cities now in the world, not only for technology, but even if you think about it for in terms of soccer or events and stuff. uh, Miami as a city, they have Messi now, and that's a lot of things. Sponsors, corporates, companies looking to move there. If you're going to Miami, and as I was saying, a key thing is like people are very cool. People love happy hours, going out, hanging out. There's a Latino vibe, so take advantage, especially if you are a person like that, right? If not, get someone from your team to do it. It's the right place to do networking. Um, there, of course, in a year we have 12 months. If there's a month that you gotta visit Miami, it's April, which is the Miami Tech month, and mid-April is the Miami Tech Week. There's a bunch of events happening during that month. A lot of companies, a lot of institutions, a lot of venture capitals, startups from different parts of the United States goes there, and of course from different parts of Latin America, and at some point also from the rest of the world. So that would so advice, get connected. That's my first piece of advice. Visit Miami if you can. Do it in April. It's the right place. um you know I think those two. Oh, and the third one would be one of the most important thing when you are targeting the US. I'm not talking now about fundraising, it's more like selling. In the US in general, and even in Miami, you gotta focus like on a niche. And what is a niche? It's like you can't go out pitching like, oh yeah, I attend a bunch of different industries at the same time, like healthcare, real estate, I don't know, e-commerce, whatever. Like that's not well perceived or received by the decision makers. So you rather say like, oh yeah, like as I was saying, I attend I target the education industry, but when you go to the education industry, you can go from kindergarten to K-8, K-12, uh, universities, whatever. So you gotta be specific on what you're doing and targeting, because US it's endless. It's so big that you just can't target a bunch of industries at the same time. You gotta be expert in not in an industry, but in a niche. So those would be my top three pieces of advices. But the most important one, get connected with people that they did that before, and they can guide you or serve you as a mentor. People are very open to help, so take advantage of that.